today I'm making another block. I am going to be making the canning season block. So 6 jars and a lot of sewing, clipping corners, and pressing. And then I also wanted to say that I remembered to get my leaders and enders. So I am making these 9-patch blocks and I have not made very many. So I have this out today. Okay, so I'm just going to sew the tops to these jars. And I guess they're not even tops, but the top of the jar I'm just sewing on the square that will be cut off, so the jar has like the angles on the top. But when I first said I was sewing the tops on, I was thinking like, oh no, that would be like the lids or something. And this is, these right here, whoops, these are going to be the lids. So I decided to do this fabric rather than like a gray that is in the pattern. I thought it'd be cute. I really love the gingham. Okay, so I have all of these top squares sewed on, and I just have to trim the corners like this and press them. So I need to trim all these and press them. Okay, now that I have all of these pressed, I need to turn around here and I need to attach C to the bottom of all of these squares and then trim them and press them. So that's what I'm going to do now. And these are small, these are 1-inch pieces. So it does make it go faster because I'm chain piecing these, so I'm doing all these at once versus like one jar at a time. So since I'm chain piecing them, it really does go a lot faster. So I feel like that's how I'm able to get kind of a lot done, is just because I try to think of ways to be more productive, I guess. Like if I sit down at the sewing machine, what can I sew? When I go to the iron, can I iron a lot? Instead of just like one piece at a time. Unless it's something that has to be done one at a time. Sometimes I feel like I have some tedious projects that it makes sense to me just to do one at a time, just so I don't lose focus or mess anything up. But there's a lot of times that I can chain piece, and that really does help and speed things up. So just a little tip. I feel like that's why I'm able to get maybe a lot of things done, because I don't always have time to sew, and I don't sew every day. So there was, I guess, a time where I kind of sewed almost every day, but I don't sew every day now. Now I just like schedule it in my sewing time. And sometimes there's days where it's like, okay, what, I might have one extra. But there are days sometimes where I think, oh, I have a little bit of time, should I sew? But I don't have a sewing room, so I do have to get my sewing machine out and put it at the table and drag all my stuff out. So I don't have a sewing room, so I guess that's maybe one reason why I don't sew every day, because I can't just go to my sewing room and sew really fast. I have to set everything up in order to sew. So okay, so now I got all of these corners done, so you can see here. So here's these ones I did previously, and now these. So now I'm just going to go through and clip these corners and then press them with an iron. All my jars are pressed. Now the next step says I need to take this strip and sew it to these background strips of fabric, and I'm going to have one on either side of here. So this is pressed with an iron, and now I need to subcut this to make the lids. Okay, so I need to subcut this to make the lids for these 6 jars. So I'm going to cut those and I'll be right back. So I cut my canning lids out right here, and there was plenty of extra for trimming. So when you have the strip set and you're trimming, you can really square up the left side and then trim as you go, because there's plenty of room to trim. So on these jars, it says you have the larger corner triangle pieces here and the small ones at the bottom. So the jar lids will just go to the top here, and I'm just going to pin these because I want to make sure that everything lines up nicely. And I did add a new fabric to the top of my pin cushion, so I thought that was fun. I believe this is a Riley Blake print. I always hate saying that out loud because I feel like, what if I mess up and tell you the wrong fabric? But I really think that is Riley Blake. So I love that fabric, and I think, oh my gosh, what else could I do with this navy? There's like a navy, it's a navy background, and there's like I guess a corally pink flower on there, and maybe like an aqua and like a blue. I just think it's really pretty. So all of my lids are sewn on to my jars, and now I just need to decide what my jar layout will be. And I also did finish one 9 patch, so now I have, my seams aren't folding over the way I want them. Sometimes I just clip them like that. But I have one 9 patch block finished, so I can add it to my stack of 9 patches. So that's fun. It will be fun to see. I think what I'm going to do is when I get done with my blocks, I'm going to lay out my 9 patch. Like, say I finish this block today, I'll also lay this 9 patch with it. And I think I'll do that every time. And then maybe at the end of getting done with all my Lori Holt quilt blocks, I can see how many 9 patches I finish. Because I already do have this small stack. Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's 7 9 patches already. And then I finished one today, so I have 8. And then I have this here, and I'm not sure how many there are. I feel like I thought there was 30, but I'm really not sure. And then these ones are all sorted, so you have the colors and the solids, and then over here is just a stack of 2.5 inch squares that I have not divvied out of the colors. Well, I don't know why this white or background's here, but so here you go. So I have a stack of 2.5 inch print blocks, color blocks, and squares. I guess they're not blocks yet, so squares, 2.5 inch colored ones, 2.5 inch solids or solids and prints that have not been divided to make my 9 patches. So one day I sat down and I kind of sorted out all of these, and since then I have cut more from my scraps. So I am so curious to see how many 9 patch blocks I will get done during this Lori Holt quilt block, like so long this new year in 2025. So that will be very interesting. So yeah, right now I just need to figure out, okay, what will be my placement for these canning jars? I have no idea. Like literally, I really don't know. I don't even know if I'm liking the gingham for the lids, but it's kind of one of those things we'll have to do. Okay, I think I'm just going to go with that layout. I'm not sure, can you guys see that? You probably can see a little bit of it. Okay, let me show you. I think I'm just going to go with that layout. Maybe these are too light on the bottom. I'm not sure what to do. And I feel like I don't really want this yellow and this yellow to be together. Well, sometimes I overthink these things, and I think about them too long. So, I think I'm just gonna go with that layout. Yep, why not? So I'm going to sew these up. I got my canning season block done. I think it turned out so cute. I'm excited to have made progress on this quilt, another quilt block this week. And then I was also able to finish up a 9 patch for my secondary quilt with my leaders and enders. So that's been fun. Also, I started a second 9 patch. So I do have lots of progress going on this secondary quilt, and this will be way fun. My plan is with these to just put them all together in a quilt and just make a scrappy 9-patch quilt, because I have a lot of scraps. Some of these are from bindings and some of these are just like chunks like that were left over. So I want to share my progress on these as well as the Lori Holt quilt blocks as I go, because I think it will be fun to see how many quilt blocks I make for this Lori Holt quilt, and then also my secondary quilt, and to see the progress this time around on this. I don't know if I'll be able to make a complete quilt by the end of my Lori Holt quilt blocks, but it will be fun to see. All right, thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.